Yeah.
That's
And that's where
nice.
you'll see if we're in this pandemic 5 months from now, that's where you'll see people jumping.
Lurking, ready to feed off of other humans. It's
I
where the
hope
undead will be.
I hope the water's deep enough.
Now, I've known Terry Daniel for years. I've never met him in person, but through Facebook and other, social media things, we talk almost on a daily basis. We talk about in this interview, we talk about how he got into voiceover and all that kind of jazz. As you know, he's been in it for many years. He's been a voiceover coach for a bunch of years, and he's just a fun guy to sort of BS around with. So I hope you enjoy the interview. Check it out. Well, cool. Well, let's just jump on here. Hey, gang! Look what the cat dragged in. It's Terry Daniel. Holy shit! Oh, that's good. Yeah, you've
Got
really
my
lost
retro.
it.
Look at this. Look at this.
God, I remember that. Were you even alive back when MTV started?
I saw the very first episode when I think his name was Mark Goodman.
Yeah.
That's who it was, when he introduced it, the very first show, in explaining to everybody what MTV was and what they were going to do.
Wasn't it the Buggles? Wasn't that the first video that they played? Video Killed the Radio Star?
Video Killed the Radio Star. I have the 45 on vinyl.
Yeah, the Buggles. God, they were great. Did you ever listen to like a full album of the Buggles? Great music.
No, we were kind of trained and manipulated back then, if you remember, because it was pop hit radio. So they didn't, you never really got past the hit, and which
that's true.
The 45s were, although the Beatles had 45s where the side B song was
a bigger hit,
better than the side A song. That was not the case with David Soul from Starsky and Hutch.
I don't know that I've ever heard his music, and I don't think I ever want to. So
he had a hit ballad in the 70s called "Don't Give Up on Us, Baby," and then
Don't
give up on us, baby. People are turning the video off. Side B was a song called "Black Bean Soup."
Seriously?
Yeah.
What a bizarre thing to remember. Our minds are clogged with all this.
I know. I remember the title. That's why I don't have room in my brain for anything else, because I remember all this stupid shit that I shouldn't remember.
Exactly. Hey, how are things going in Minneapolis these days? It's been a rough month, man.
Yeah, well, everything's nice and calm here. No, it's unfortunate the way we made the national news, but things are starting to settle in, and
good.
It has been really, because we're only 10 to 15 minutes away from where it all, happened.
Do you live in Minneapolis proper, or are you like in a suburb, or how far away from town, or are you just in a neighborhood of town? How does that work? Where are you in Minneapolis?
I am in an old suburb called St. Louis Park. It's a great suburb. I'm literally about 8 minutes from Target Field, where the Twins play baseball. So we're kind of in the middle. We're a good location where we can, in a non-pandemic year, we can get to just about any restaurant in less than 10 minutes and go wherever we want. And
that's nice. And it's a pretty, your place looks great. Nice big yard, lots of trees around, well established. It looks like a beautiful place to be.
Yeah, and that's really our neighbor's yard. we just stay in the tent. No, no, it really is. It's Rambler City. It's a good 2-3 bedroom Rambler with a really big yard. The house itself is really small, but we don't have any kids. We have one dog, and I've been here since 2003.
Oh, really? That long? Hey, but anyway, let's get down to brass tacks here.
Yes, I know that down to the nuggets.
The nuggets, yes. I know that, everybody who knows you knows that you were in radio before you got into voiceover, but how'd you get into radio? And where did you make that transition from radio to deciding that voiceover was going to be your career? How did that whole thing happen?
I really had a fun experience in radio. The radio station that I worked at was the equivalent of working at a college station. They really, as long as you followed the guidelines of the format, you could really do whatever you want. You could even slip in your own. There was a playlist that you had to abide by, but you could slip in your own songs as long as it wasn't, we played a lot of Bob Dylan, a lot of John Hyatt, Delbert McClinton, old bluesy stuff too, Keb Mo, fabulous artist, Robert Cray. it was all a very eclectic. This was the last of the really eclectic FM radio stations. Now, especially in my area, I don't even know which station is what because they all play the same damn 10 songs.
Same thing. Yeah. Right.
It was awful. But this was owned by one very rich man. It was not a corporate radio station like an iHeart Radio or CBS thing. And I ran the board in the morning we carried the Imus in the Morning program.
Okay, so you were
Imus.
So you were producing it and filling in the commercial spots when the breaks were coming through and all that kind of stuff?
I did that, but I also did movie reviews and afternoon drive.
Oh man, you lived there.
Oh yeah, it was great. It was, it was a small station and only covered like half of the metro area. And
okay.
We had creative liberty to do. I mean, we couldn't like throw in a Van Halen song or something like that.
Right.
It had to go within the format, but it was a very loosey-goosey format, and that just is, it's unspeakable in radio today now, obviously.
Right, exactly. So then did they also hire you to do rip and read spots for local businesses and that kind of thing?
Yeah, that's how the voiceover bug really started to happen. And it really happened because I started listening back to the commercial. I had a blast on the air and met a lot of different musicians, interviewed a lot of actors, musicians back then.
Fun.
Angelina Jolie, when she was in a movie called Hackers, she sat
seriously
5 feet from me in the studio with Johnny Lee Miller.
I don't even know who Johnny Lee Miller is.
He's in a bunch of like cop shows and stuff. And
okay.
I don't know any real huge blockbusters. Obviously, Angelina Jolie blew up after that.
Yeah, right.
Do you think she would remember me if I gave her a phone call?
I'm sure that she would say that you were a huge influence on her career and give you all the credit.
Oh yeah.
And dedicate her next 5 adopted children after you.
Oh my God. Yeah. That was funny because we had no idea. It's like, who's this? We were just like, we treated it like any other interview. It was no different than interviewing a local actress at the Guthrie Theater,
Right.
But I started listening back to my commercial reads and they were god awful and everything sounded the same. You know how it is when you're in radio, no matter what the copy looks like, everything sounds like an urgent weather bulletin or, some type of breaking news. There's no acting whatsoever. I mean, it's the old announcery delivery. And
sure.
I'm like, you know what? I really need to kind of change that. And I really got the bug when I did a bunch of plays back then too, a lot of theater.
How did you get involved with that? Did you just think it would be fun and so you didn't do any acting like stuff in coming up through grammar school or anything like that?
I did my first, I think I did my first play called Hot Date on a Saturday Night about a bunch of college kids. This was 8th grade or 8th or 9th grade. It was like one of those one-act play contests where you write your own play. And oh my God, that was a blast. So I got the theater bug way back in junior high. And I was Commissioner Gordon in Batman. We did a musical version of Batman.
That's awesome.
And just craziness, it was, and that was just so much fun. So
you had that, you already had that in your system. So then you started doing some theater when you were still at the radio station.
That's correct. And I needed to do theater because I needed a creative stage because I worked at a couple of, not so fun temporary jobs along with DJing at a sports bar. And that was fun for the age that I was at, but I wasn't really getting a chance to be creative or anything like that. So that really kind of helped fill that void. And then I did luck out because I had a buddy who, his fiance at the time was the head of an ad campaign for Country Kitchen. It was an ad agency.
Is that a restaurant chain or something?
It's a lot like Denny's, Perkins. I don't think they're around anymore. If you remember, they were Country Kitchens were everywhere. And
they weren't here in California, but I remember other references, or they'd show up in TV shows, or
Yeah, big time. And so I kind of lucked out and kind of fell into an audition with my friend Dave and his fiance, who was in charge of that particular campaign at an ad agency, and I got the gig.
That's cool.
I'm like, I could get used to this. And back then, you were going to, the only way to get work was, through an agent at an offsite studio.
Right. And, I mean, this is before you, had you even thought of creating your own home recording space or anything like that at the time?
nothing. There was really no way to do it. I mean, we're talking 1989.
Oh,
You know,
there was no internet. Yeah.
no internet. I'm sure there was a way, I guess, if you wanted to build your home recording studio and
Yeah.
pay thousands and thousands of dollars to have an engineer come in and a designer. But,
Right.
who am I going to send the audio to? I'll put it on reel to reel.
Yeah, exactly. And snail mail. There you go. Great.
I don't
Uh-oh.
have. I
Oh,
have.
oh, you actually have reel to reel back
Oh,
there somewhere?
I thought I had one of those mags with me, but I think it's in the
Oh,
other room because we cleared out the old furnace room,
oh, I see.
and I found some reel to reel stuff from the old
Wow.
station I worked at.
That's cool. Well,
Art
so
machine,
then,
reel to reel. We were still using them.
well, what now then? Okay, so that got you kind of your foot in the door with voiceover. Did you end up studying with anybody in particular, or did you just, kind of get under the wing of somebody that was already kind of established, or how did you progress into becoming Terry Daniel voice
I
god?
It's funny you ask because, of course, I did what everybody else tries to do is teach yourself and do your own demo,
Right.
which was a disaster because I had an old Panasonic boombox I tried to record into. And I took like newspaper clippings and magazine ads and just kind of created my own content, maybe copied a real commercial out there. And of course, it was absolute garbage. And I sent the tape to a bunch of agencies and I think about 20 of them, and all 20 of them rejected me, of course.
Well, I mean, people are still doing that. Maybe not with
Oh,
a
yeah.
cassette deck, but oh man.
Oh yeah, shortcuts really don't lead to anywhere, honestly.
Yeah.
And then I took an improv class. I took a couple acting classes, and
Perfect.
I did study with a couple of different voiceover coaches. One was more in a class setting, and then I did work
Uh-huh.
with somebody over the phone,
Yeah.
which would works. That even works today. Sometimes you
Yeah.
have an internet connection or the power goes out, like it likes to do over here frequently, and you have
Yeah.
to by phone. But generally worked with a couple different coaches for many years, and I still keep in touch with one of them. We all like to keep in touch with our old teachers once in a while.
Oh yeah.
Especially on social media. I mean, I'm friends with my sixth grade teacher.
It's amazing.
She was the only one that made any impact on my life. K through 12. The rest of them,
Right in the
no.
trash.
She
Well,
was
cool. Well,
incredible.
that's now, getting back to voiceover. I mean, let's jump ahead a little bit and talk about what are you being cast for most of the time these days? I mean, I know you still do a bunch of commercials and e-learning and stuff like that, but you do a pretty wide variety of other stuff too, right?
Yeah, in a non-pandemic year, there's the theme park promos.
Yeah, right. Oh God, I didn't even think of that.
Uh,
Right.
that's taken a hit at least temporarily, but
Right.
it's always good to know that at least they will come back.
Yeah.
This isn't
Right.
like losing a gig forever or their budget was cut down to nothing, that they're not using voice people anymore. All that stuff will come back. I mean,
True.
temporarily, it's a bit of a kick in the butt, but
For God, I think for all of us, it's just been,
yeah.
yeah.
So, COVID PSAs, and I did a national one last Friday for a sports company. Of course,
Oh, good.
it's the old NDA contract.
Right.
Disclosure, so you can't really mention it or talk about it, but it's supposed to air relatively quickly, or so they say.
Well, good. Well, that's nice. It's nice that the work is still coming in, even
Oh
though,
yeah, a
it's
lot.
just a lot of this and, trying to market and keep in contact with your regulars and stuff. But, we're all reliant on them being busy for ourselves to be busy. So we're kind of
Yeah,
like,
that's really, other than that, it hasn't really, I mean, the regular broadcast media stuff has slowed down a little bit, but not the educational products.
right. Now,
And I know that you do plenty of that as well.
yeah, oh yeah, totally. Yeah. Now, if you had your druthers, is there any genre that you'd like to work more in? I mean, again, assuming that it's, COVID is no longer an issue and, things are kind of back to normal. Is there anything that you would actually like to do more of?
I really do get a kick. I know everybody says, "Oh, I want to get into cartoons." But every time I've ever had a chance to do a character gig, it's always worked out really well. And I ask myself the same damn question at the end of every session: why the hell don't I do more of this?
Yeah.
I stick to my comfort zone, which is e-learning, medical. The theme park promos do kind of, there's a lot of creativity there because you get to
Yeah.
do, you can play the voice of a pirate if you want, or they, different promotions in the park where you can do some goofy, fun stuff.
That's fun.
Um, yeah. So, but anytime I've ever had a chance to do a character thing, I'm like, I really should try to do a little bit more of this. And
Yeah, it's not
really,
it's too bad that, more of it doesn't come down the pipeline through agencies and stuff like that, because it's a blast. I love it too.
yeah. I mean, I haven't really tried to pursue it as
Hmm.
much as I should because it's just, we're busy with the coaching. I'm busy with the e-learning and the theme park promos and the commercials and everything else. It's hard to,
Yeah.
open up a whole nother road.
Yeah,
I
exactly.
really, really enjoy doing it. And I would never, ever, I mean, you couldn't pay me enough to do an audiobook. I think
Oh,
audiobook
I,
is, God bless anybody who can do these ACX audiobook projects. I think it takes a special kind of person to be able to do that. I just don't have the attention span to do it.
no, no, I agree.
It's unbelievable. It takes a certain special amount of patience. And then,
Yeah, yeah.
I would definitely play a character in an audiobook if it
Hmm.
was like one of those projects where there's 10 actors
Yeah.
participating in it. I'm all done reading 300 pages of information about search engine optimization, pacemakers, or business related books, or those, I've done audio books on those shitty MLM courses.
Yeah, yeah,
It's
right.
like, oh God, I'm so sick of talking about that stuff. Hey,
No.
I need you to do an audio book for a splash page or something like that. I'm like,
Yeah,
no,
yeah. If I'm going to be doing long form, I want to be paid at good e-learning rates, not at audiobook rates.
absolutely.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
absolutely.
Well,
And
speaking of fun things, sorry to
yes,
jump in, but
no,
speaking of fun things that you like to do, thinking back over your 25, 30-year career so far, is there anything that stands out as like the pinnacle of your career so far? Whether it was like a huge national gig that paid like total bucks, or just that was fun and you were happy to share it with friends and family. Is there anything like that stands out in your mind?
well, as far as fun,
Mhm.
I mean, there's been there's so many, but the best as far as pay was a massive campaign for the Red Cross.
Oh, wow.
Which it was tons of training materials for them, everything from explainer videos to e-learning modules to some
Yeah,
PSAs. It was pretty much I was the guy that kind of did it all. So
that's sweet.
financially, that happened a few years ago and was quite rewarding.
Yeah.
Um,
How about a commercial, or like a theme announcement, or I mean, thing that really stands out as being just like, if you had to choose one thing to represent you as a voice actor, what would it be, do you think?
I
Like as
really,
your big highlight.
I'll give you an example. These are my favorite. Please keep your hands and feet inside the ride until the car comes to a complete stop. Thank you for stopping at Valley Fair. Or one of the I love
Standing ovation.
yes,
Standing O.
yes, and I'll show off my MTV T-shirt one more time.
That's great. Yeah, that's awesome.
I love the theme park promos because they're always changing, and they're always going to come back for another project because there's a different band playing at the amphitheater.
Right.
There's different, Fourth of July celebration, or here comes the Disney marching band, or whatever. There's always something different going on. So
That was a huge thing for me when I was a kid growing up. I mean, I was fascinated not only with Warner Brothers cartoons and all those characters, but going to Disneyland and listening to the ride narrators and the announcements coming over the PA and all that stuff. I was just like, it's just, I mean, it's so atmospheric. It adds so much to the experience. But of course, I didn't realize that was a job. I
right,
just thought it was like,
exactly.
so cool.
Well, and then these days, with the technology, we can record from our homes, and then they put an MP3 into some type of a loop
Yeah,
program in a park.
yeah,
There was a lot of that again before the pandemic hit, like Stone Mountain Park and Darien Lakes Amusement Park in New York, Valley Fair, Six Flags.
cool.
A lot of that stuff has kind of come to a screeching halt
That's true.
temporarily.
That's true. They're talking about opening the Disney parks, and I think some Six Flag parks are going to start kind of opening up a little bit, limited capacity and stuff next month, I think.
Yeah, we'll see how this spike
Yeah,
affects that, but hopefully it just gets a little better.
yeah.
Um,
Now,
those
obviously,
are
oh, I'm
some of the
sorry. Go.
jobs. Those
Uh,
were some of the funnest things I think I've ever done because There's nothing like imagining yourself being heard. Or like with the Minnesota Twins, I'm a baseball fan first,
Yeah.
but I also became a client after many, many years. So
That's awesome.
there's
See,
nothing like hearing your voice doing a live promo. And I've actually been on the field with the microphone in my hand
in front
doing,
of thousands and thousands of fans.
doing sponsorship promos. Yeah, it's quite I'm not the type of guy that needs to hear my voice over my monitors or even over the radio or TV, but when you get into a stadium,
Wow.
then suddenly you're a 5-year-old boy, and it's the first time you've ever held a microphone in your life, and you're listening to your voice through that AM frequency on your Donnie and Marie microphone.
Wow. Well, I think I would be, I would best be prepared best if I were to wear some undergarments walking out in front of that sort of pressure.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, there's nothing like hearing yourself in that big massive PA.
Yeah.
You got the earpiece on because you have to deal with some echo.
Right.
When you see people singing the national anthem,
right,
you have to focus on what they're hearing in their in their ear prompts.
Exactly. Yeah. Now, of course, all of us, have to maintain the health of our throats and all that kind of thing. So we have to stay hydrated. Is there anything, I mean, we all drink tons of water. Is there anything else? I mean, I drink coffee in the morning. I know I'm not supposed to, sometimes I do my first couple jobs for the morning, still guzzling my coffee. So, yeah.
I'm drinking right now. I have two things in front of me that I have no business recording and doing it. My wife was kind enough to make me a fruit smoothie, which is
right. Does it have dairy in it?
I don't know what it has. No, it's almond milk and fresh fruit. She makes them from scratch and does a terrific job.
She's all right.
Probably not a good idea to drink one of these before a recording or an audition.
Maybe not. It might gum up the works a little bit.
If you have to eat like shit, just do it 4 hours before you record or whatever.
Right. And try to flush it through.
Oh my God. I've had people that have shown up for a demo session with a can of Red Bull and a big giant bag of like Taco Bell. I'm like, what are you doing? I have to send them home. I'm like, your voice is going to be shit.
God. Nice.
Oh, please. Or they're like really hungover from the night before, which is alcohol is probably the number one dehydrator for your voice.
Yeah.
You're going to sound like, death warmed over there. It's like, oh God, I can't record a demo.
No. Speaking of recording, how long have you had your home studio set up? I'm looking at you now and it looks like, was it like a walk-in closet that you converted into a studio space? What was that room?
This was just a corner of my basement, and we just put up some sheetrock and a bunch of Arlex foam. I already had lucked out because the ceiling is so low, and it's kind of, I don't know the term for it, but it's a real foamy type material.
Okay.
I don't know the big builder term for it, and then I got a big shaggy rug underneath, and it sounds great when there's, obviously you can hear if somebody's mowing next door, this isn't going to block.
No.
Or if a helicopter kindly lands on my roof.
I've got two small airports near me.
Hands up. With our hands up. I'm probably going to pick that up in the recording.
Yeah, and your ass is going to be hauled out in handcuffs anyway. So
probably will not be doing any VO work for a while if that's the case. But
you're a busy guy. How do you kind of balance your work and your private life, or do they just, are you able to get downtime? How do you deal with that? I mean, because it can be a little nutty being self-employed and, dealing with clients and all that.
I get up ridiculously early, as you know.
Yeah.
I usually wake up to a message of mine because you're on Pacific time. I get up sometimes at 5 a.m., as you know, and I am far more motivated in the morning up until about noon or 2 o'clock.
Yeah.
I like to get everything in, go on my hikes, and then really from about 5 o'clock on, I attempt to shut down, because otherwise I just, I have no mental bandwidth after about 5 p.m.
Yeah, you just kind of, I'm the same way. I try to pack everything into the mornings as much as possible, or early afternoon.
Great. And I go, I usually take a 5-mile hike every day.
5 miles. That's
Yeah.
great.
Oh yeah. And it keeps my energy up. And I'm not a nap kind of person. Maybe on the weekends, I like to maybe take a nap. I'm one of those guys that I sleep really hard and I have these crazy dreams.
Uh-huh.
And then when I get up from a nap, oh man, I am mean as a snake.
Oh, really? Oh,
I'm not
so
a nap person. I get up and I feel awful. I'm crabby. I'm dangerous. Uh, and I feel better even if I'm a little tired. I would actually rather be overly tired from 5 hours of sleep. I know this isn't necessarily the healthiest advice,
yeah.
but the naps backfire on me almost all the time. And you're getting old when your favorite thing to do at night is to watch an old 80s comedy that you've seen 300 times and you fall asleep to it and you love it. You love that
That's
feeling.
me.
Because you're not going to really miss anything because you've got every line in the movie memorized, but it's almost like this relaxing thing
For
where
me,
you don't
it's Seinfeld.
have to be paying attention,
Yeah, for me, it's Seinfeld, and
Seinfeld,
yeah,
Yep.
I love it, and I just keep it on. And that my wife, she comes to bed way later than I do. I'm in bed by 9. I try to be in bed by 9 p.m.
I'm
I'll
with
watch some TV, and within 30, 40 minutes, lights out.
Yeah, 10 o'clock for me. And I try to, if I really want to watch something that I have to pay attention to, it's usually on the weekends, like a
Yeah,
Netflix show or a series, because I know that during a work day, I'm going to end up falling asleep anyway. So I might as well watch Fast Times at Ridgemont High
right.
or Ferris Bueller's Day Off or
we
Planes, Trains, and Automobiles or 16 Candles. Now you can tell I'm on a John Hughes.
John Hughes all the way.
Oh yeah, all the way.
Uncle Buck, that was one of my favorites. I loved Uncle Buck.
I used to have the movie poster.
Oh, did you really?
I went through a phase where I collected movie posters and I just put them up everywhere in my room. And all this is years and years ago. I had like Forrest Gump and E.T. and Raiders of the Lost Ark. And I still have Star Wars
Oh,
back
well,
there.
yeah. Well, that's still timely. I mean, that's like will never go out of fashion. So, and
No,
that's the classic one too. Your microphone's in the way at the moment, but that's the classic original Star Wars poster. Yeah, awesome. As of now, I'm sure there are a lot of more examples of this kind of thing to come in your future, but embarrassing moments in front of clients or on stage or places like in front of a stadium of thousands of people, embarrassing moments. Do you have one or two that stand out as like, oh my God, I can't believe that happened?
Well, I can name 3 off the bat. There's
Okay.
nothing better than singing in church and forgetting a whole verse.
Well,
That doesn't
you
have
were
any.
singing in front, like in the choir or whatever.
No, we're talking solo.
Oh,
And you go blank on a verse. So then you kind of start making up what you think. And I did this in theater a lot. Thankfully, it was like a lot of comedies and stuff.
you could kind of riff.
Yeah, they didn't know I forgot the line. I was pretty damn good at ad-libbing and improv, so I didn't have any. I memorized the lines as best I could. But oh my God, the church thing is already, there was already high blood pressure anyway. Just standing in front of any kind of a congregation is just like nerves big time.
In the eyes of God.
Oh my God, seriously. And then forgetting a whole verse. Yeah. And then
Nice.
the weirdest VO session that was it wasn't necessarily embarrassing. It was a good test. And it was a good patience test because I had done it was a tag for a law firm.
Okay.
This was one of the first agency gigs I had. It was for a Minnesota law firm.
Okay.
And I think everybody in the law firm themselves showed up to direct the session.
Oh God.
And it was names of 3 lawyers and a website. And that was it. That's what I was hired to do. And it was an hour session. I must have done 97 reads of Schwabel, Getz, and Sieben, Minnesota Attorney Powerhouse.
Of course you still remember it.
And it was just like, if that would have been like William Shatner in that session, can you imagine him putting up with these picky, there was like 10 men in suits.
Yeah.
And this was one of the first gigs I've ever had via this other local agent that I had. And,
so this was, were you all in the studio at the same time?
I was in the booth, and I swear to God,
Oh,
the entire law firm was on the other side of the glass with
oh,
the engineer, all offering up their 2 cents. And,
yeah,
I was kind of a cocky young kid. I just couldn't wait to get to the bar back then.
right.
And I was just like, I started to get a little mouthy. And, honestly, I don't know how take 78 or 68 is any different from the first 20 freaking takes I did. You know,
Now we all know we have to internalize that talk.
it was unbelievable. And then after the session, I seriously did about 100 takes of the tag. And then we all sat down and had to talk about it. I
And
mean,
it probably took like 3 hours.
oh yeah, you know how corporations are, meetings about meetings, and then it's just, why do we have to talk about it? I've been sitting in here sweating my ass off for an hour promoting your law firm,
For the tagline.
oh yeah, it's a tag, and I wasn't even the main voice on the. Oh my God, I really felt sorry for the talent who had to read the entire copy.
Oh God, can you imagine? Oh,
When that session was, but I tell you what,
brutal.
that was a good kind of beginner session to have.
Yeah,
Boy, talk about you get thrown into the lion's den with a
right.
challenging client, and have to take direction. And there were way too many chefs in the kitchen, and I don't wish that upon anybody.
Yeah, things that you would never imagine, being new in the business to come up, and you're in there sweating bullets, just going, "Come on, what is wrong with you people?"
It
Yeah.
was, thankfully, the engineer was a friend of mine, and he actually had mixed my first demo. So we had a
Okay.
lot of laughs when we finally went to the bar after the client went home.
And lots of cocktails later.
I'm like, we still joke about it today. It's just like, oh my God, that is one for the books. I mean, I never, it was all a cakewalk after that, because
Yeah,
talk about a great training session. Any
absolutely.
gig was so easy after that.
Yeah, those nightmare gigs are the ones that you always remember, and that after that that you can expect anything. You think you know what's going to happen going into a session, and you just never really know.
And it's nice. And then sometimes it works the opposite, where you get the script at the session, and oh my God, every other word is a 17-syllable medical term. You couldn't even proofread it the night before.
No.
Like, this is going to be a disaster. I'm going to have to fire myself and pay for the session and then apologize to my talent agent. But what's weird is something kind of goes off where suddenly that became one of the easiest gigs ever. I don't know how.
Yeah. You just all of a sudden it clicks in, and you just go through it, and two or three takes later you're done.
Yeah, and it helps when the clients are cool and they're relaxed and
Yeah.
they're not real strict on the direction. I mean, I've gone into sessions where the client goes, "Man, you're good at this. Can you sound like you're not very good?"
Right. And also they realize how ridiculous the pronunciations and the terminology and all. They realize how stupid it is, and they can laugh along with you.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And it's great when they eventually kind of become your friends, and they know you kind of know what to expect from each other, and it ends up being a fun session. And
it turns into they just keep coming back because they know that they can rely on you. Well, listen, I don't want to take up any more of your time. Tell us how to get in touch with you. Tell us your links, your websites. Tell us what's going on, how to hire you or make contact and all that stuff.
well, my regular voiceover site, which is in the midst of a makeover that I have to put in the finishing touches on a new logo and website.
Cool.
You can get to that information at universalvoicetalent.com. But if you want to coach with us, I'm in my 30th year of doing it. So I enjoy the teaching end of it, obviously, as you know.
You started coaching that long ago?
I haven't started coaching 30 yeurs ago. I'm in my 5th year of doing voiceover.
Yeah.
But probably been coaching for about 15.
Okay. Yeah.
15. So that site is voiceovertraining.info.
Okay, great.
I think you might be on that website.
I might be. I'm not sure. I'll have to check with that. Cool. Is there anything else? Any other things that you want to let people know about?
No, just it's
You've got some good playlists, your voiceover sermons.
Yes.
YouTube playlist.
Yeah, let me plug those real quick. The YouTube playlist is pretty much for beginners, and there's a lot of candor. So that one is voiceoverbeginners.com.
Good.
And then, which I do have a podcast called Voiceover Sermons, and you can get to it. You can actually subscribe via Apple Podcasts,
Cool.
iHeartRadio, Spotify. I think you can even get it on Google Play.
Awesome.
You can ask Alexa to play it.
Beautiful.
Yeah, she basically finds the iHeartRadio version and starts like episode 1. It's great.
That's really cool.
The website is voiceoversermons.com if you want to get to it. And then you, of course, have little clips on there occasionally. Sermon side note, I believe is what we call it.
That is it indeed. Well, cool, man. Well, thanks for coming on and doing this with me. I appreciate it.
Oh yeah, this was fun. We should, we'll definitely do it again.
I mean, we shoot the shit over Facebook Messenger like all day, every day, just about. So it's nice to be able to kind of do this, you know, and share a little of this silliness and to get to know you a little bit. I mean, there's some stuff there that I didn't know, and I've been bullshitting with you for years.
I know, right? It's like it's been a lot of fun, and the
Cool.
Facebook Messenger has pretty much replaced the phone.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Oh, also, you've got 2 Facebook groups. Do you want to mention those 2 just in case for those that are out there?
Yep, go on Facebook. If you're a professional voice actor with at least a year plus experience, we generally, we're not super strict about it, but that's what my VO Pros group is for. And you can just do a search in Facebook and you'll find it. Voiceover Camp is more for the new talent. Some of our students are in there. They're not all of our students. Some people just like to sit and lurk and see the information, which is fine. And that's Voiceover Camp. And they're both easy to find. Just search groups for both of those groups and you'll find them.
Awesome. Thanks a lot, Terry. It's been great having you on.
Thank you. Now, I'm usually used to hosting Zoom. Do I hang up on you or do you hang up on me?
Well, essentially what happens is I press a button and a rocket gets sent your way. Your house explodes, and then that's the end of the session. Yeah.
Oh my God, that's perfect. That's a good hint. That's a good hint that it's over.
Yeah.
Fiery flames will tell me that it's over.
Here it comes.
All right, man. Be well, and thanks again.
Thank you, Terry. Take it easy.
Bye-bye.
Bye.